Well, good afternoon, everyone. And I am pleased to have with me Dr. Carol Kinsey Goman, who, amongst many other things, is both an educator. She's well represented in the ABCs of adult education, academic, business, and consulting. The purpose of the interview today is to talk about an upcoming book, which will be released a little later this year, called Stand Out. So, Dr. Kinsey Goman, thank you very much for joining us.
You are very welcome. It's my pleasure.
Now, listen, it maybe a good place to start would be to tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Well, first of all, I travel a lot. I'm an international keynote speaker, and I've addressed hundreds of organizations in 26 countries so far. And I speak on a variety of topics, but my favorite is my newest, which is the power of presence for women who lead. I'm also a leadership blogger for Forbes and the author of 12 business books. So this new book, Stand Out, will be lucky 13.
Well, that's a special place in your portfolio.
Yep.
So that's some decent biographical information. Maybe tell the people something they may not know about you.
Let's see. Well, I once led half a parade down the wrong street. I was 6 years old and a majorette and a short. I'm a petite woman, but at 6, I was a shrimp. So my little unit that I was leading got behind the first half of the parade that took a left-hand turn, which I did not see. So I continued straight down the street, and the whole rest of the parade, the half behind me, followed me, which was probably the first time I learned that if you march with enough confidence, people will follow.
Well, we all learn lessons in different ways. That's a great story. So let me ask you this. I know you said it's a passion of yours, and certainly it's something we're hearing a lot about in the leadership development field, this idea of presence and its importance. Why are you writing this book?
Well, leadership presence is that elusive, but we know it when we see it, quality. Now, people can have a leadership title, they can have tremendous leadership potential, or even great business results, but that alone doesn't give them presence. Because presence depends on being perceived as a leader when you're interacting with your peers or customers or senior executives. So in my coaching practice, I've coached so many wonderful, high-performing professionals whose careers have stalled because for one reason or another, they just don't look like leaders. So this book is for the rest of the wonderful high performers I haven't had the opportunity to coach personally.
Nice. Now, oftentimes an author will have a mindset. I'm writing this book. I can picture the person reading it. And for that purpose, what would you like to see people do or know after having read this book?
First of all, everyone needs to know that leadership presence is based solely on how other people see you. You could be an expert in your field and still not be perceived as credible because of your communication style, as a matter of fact. So the issue is not about your actual credibility. It's about your ability to project credibility so that others see you that way. Secondly, because of that, leadership is all about impression management. And when I talk about impression management, I don't mean coming across as something phony. I mean specifically aligning people's perception of you with your best authentic self. So it has to be grounded in your values, in your character, in what's important to you, because that's what's going to spill out. And I guess thirdly, leadership presence is a set of skills that anyone can learn. I think that's what I learned as I was coaching people, that really all it takes is a growth mindset, which is that belief that your abilities aren't set in stone, but they can be developed, improved through practice. And the nice thing is you don't have to do it all at once. That's the charm of this to me as a coach and as a writer, is that you can make small changes that have a tremendous impact on the impression you make. So you can improve your leadership presence one little tip at a time.
That's great. Now, Carol, we've gotten to know each other on the leadership presence material, but in particular, leadership presence for women who lead. That's
Yes.
extremely well known in this topic for women leaders. My understanding is this book's a little broader than that. Can you speak on that for a minute?
Yes, it is broader than that. It encompasses all genders, and there is a specific chapter on the unique challenges, opportunities, techniques, and strategies for women. So, leadership presence for women is represented in that one chapter, but many of those general tips, strategies, techniques are applicable right across gender lines.
That's great because you're absolutely right. There are so many crossovers when you talk about presence, and then in specific to call out gender on there. But that's wonderful. Now, uh, I guess a two-pronged question here. Number one is, can you tell folks how to get in touch with you, where they can find more information, and then number two, if you've got even an idea of when the book will be published.
Sure. Well, the easiest place to get in touch with me is through my website, which is my full name, carolkinseygoman.com. And on that site, I have video clips, I have articles, I have outlines of all the presentations that I give, I have my speaking schedule, and I have links to things like my LinkedIn Learning video course on body language for leaders, which has been their best-selling, most popular video course ever, with well over 2 million views so far. So that's linked in there. And hopefully, the book, if I can finish writing it on time, which is my goal, will be out in September. So I am looking forward to having this book out. I'm looking forward to speaking more on leadership presence, but particularly as it applies to women. That's my real passion.
Perfect. Well, listen, on behalf of everyone, can't thank you enough for spending the time today. We will keep our eyes peeled for Stand Out, and we'll be looking for you to continue your good work in this field. So thank you very much for joining us today, Dr. Carol Kinsey Goman.
Thank you.